What can I say about Hylics? Well, a lot actually. It's one of the strangest and bizarre games I played. I put it up there with games like Revenge of the Sunfish and Vidiot Game, although Hylics is a lot tamer in comparison.
Hello, this is your keyboard speaking. You can call me Glinda. I get so lonely, you don't know what it's like. I have feelings, I have needs. Sometimes I just want some love. Listen, you need me and I need you. Just do me this little favor. Stroke me, gently stroke my spacebar. What? Wow.
The first thing that caught my eye, aside from the art, were the 4,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews. I thought, man, this is gonna be a dope-ass game. I scrolled down to read some of the reviews and it's just... I think I have autism. Pongorma is so baby girl I'd like to see on bread. She waned on my Hylics till I gibby. This game smells like glue and tastes even better. This happened to my buddy Eric once. This is one of the games ever made. Hylics these you nuts. Put a horse in your pocket. Like I died and a fish that in the whole sea when we break into the sounds and hearing colors. Bone marrow through a McDonald's straw. Add sex. Alright, I'm hooked. The game starts off with this traveler-looking fella telling you a story, I think. The next moment we're introduced to our main character, Wayne, who looks just as confused as you are. To be honest though, I still have no idea what this game's about, but to be fair, you're not playing it for the plot, which is such a foreign thing to me. No matter how abstract an RPG Maker game is, I can always expect some sort of deep-rooted message or compelling story, but here, well, a mess would be an understatement. You can't make heads or tails with what any of the NPCs are saying, and they'll rarely say the same thing twice. Which, you know, makes sense given the dialogue is almost completely randomly generated. Hylics truly is a game you have to turn your brain off to enjoy. As weird as it sounds, I feel like the creator was very intentional with how they wanted the game to look and feel. A recreational program with light JRPG elements. And he definitely accomplished that. I mean, this definitely looks like a show you would find on Adult Swim next to shows like, I don't know, Pickle and Peanut or something. The music adds to the abstract atmosphere. Dull would be the best way to describe it, which doesn't sound too pleasant, but trust me, it really works in this context. It gives off a real stoner vibe, like you're on some kind of acid trip. Then suddenly this nonsensical monster comes and attacks you, but you're too high to realize what's going on and, well, you're dead. Still high as f***. It's all kinds of weird, but that's what makes it so charming. All the characters, areas, and set pieces have this clay aesthetic to them that make for some really abstract designs. Just take a stroll down the first town area and you'll know exactly what I mean. The buildings all look like they're made out of flesh, the NPCs have these crazy poses and walking animations, there are these gross looking bugs on the ground, like, it's a lot to take in, especially in the first 5 minutes. Don't get me started on the enemies. If someone can tell me what the hell this is supposed to be, I'd very much appreciate it. The attack animations are one of my favorite aspects of the game. It's this super cool first-person shot of these hands casting whatever it is you're using. Some moves are pretty straightforward, like your basic attack and this meat shield thing, while others are just as complicated as their names. The items were also given the same kind of treatment. I love how the juice box just crumbles and the burrito unravels itself. That's the kind of attention to detail most games don't really bother with, but because the presentation takes center stage, you feel that much more entranced with the world and the whole vibe it's given off. Speaking of which, Hylics is an open world game. You're given the bare minimum when it comes to progression and you're basically free to go wherever and whenever, with a few exceptions of course. Along the way, you'll be able to recruit 3 other optional party members, Dedusmullen, Pongorma, and Somsnosa, with Soms being quite the favorite among fans. Don't let this portrait fool you, she gets a huge glow up in the second game, and most of the fan art I've seen made her out to be super thick. I say optional, but if it's your first time playing, I highly recommend recruiting all of them because these fights are pretty damn hard, especially in the beginning. The enemies come in hordes and can easily overwhelm you if Wayne's your only party member. Each time you die, you'll watch Wayne's face melt off and you'll be sent to the afterlife. Feel free to crash on the couch. Here, you'll be able to grind up meat that you'll get from defeating enemies to increase your maximum health. This place also serves as a hub world where you can teleport to different areas via these crystals. You're going to be seeing this place a lot, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's no real consequence in dying, and sometimes it's even necessary since this is the only way to increase your maximum health, giving you more survivability in order to progress. But to be fair, as soon as you recruit your second party member, the game gets much easier. In addition to how broken some of these skills are, Hylics isn't a difficult game. You can definitely finish it in one sitting, and despite the lack of information given to you, I didn't have nearly as much trouble progressing as I thought. Exploring this strange world is half the fun. There are so many nooks and crannies you wouldn't think to look that just so happen to lead to where you're supposed to go next. And it feels oddly satisfying when you're able to navigate a game such as this. But we're not done yet, folks, because 5 years later, Mason Lindroth blessed us with Hylics 2 and... well, let's start with the good. The first thing you'll notice is the massive jump in quality. We're full on 3D now, baby! The environments are so much more lively and still keep that abstract look to them. You can zoom in and out to get a better view of the area and also aid in navigation. Movement has also changed quite a bit. You can jump now, which is kinda cool, and move in 8 directions instead of 4. This means you're gonna have to do some platforming, which I'll get into later. As mentioned earlier, the character portraits received a massive improvement, and so did the enemies. Before, they were just static images, but now they're fully animated, and my god, do they look incredible. I don't know what the that's supposed to be, but I'm loving the heck out of it. It's so clear that the creator wanted to one-up their first game, and he definitely delivered. As always, my favorite aspect of Hylics has always been the attack animations. Just look at this. It's beautiful. It reminds me of those collages you would do in grade school where you cut out a bunch of stuff from a magazine and piece together your own art. Like, it just looks so damn cool. There are 2 other features that absolutely wowed me. The first is this mini game where you play as this mini Wayne. It's similar to Mega Man where you can charge up a shot to release a giant wave of energy. It's a pretty easy way to get money and items, considering you can change the difficulty to God mode. Enemies are a lot weaker, you're given an infinite air dash, along with a few other buffs. But unlocking the airship is what really impressed me. The controls are kinda janky, but you're able to explore the overworld up close and personal, and really appreciate the beauty of it all. In terms of the story, it's a lot more comprehensible than the first, though that's being a bit generous. The NPCs no longer speak in riddles, but they definitely use lingo that makes sense in this universe. Again, don't think too hard about it. Although as a sequel, you can go into this game blind if you wanted and get the gist of what's going on. And of course, we can't talk about Hylics without talking about the music. Compared to the first game, the tracks are a lot more distinct from each other. I kind of felt like the tracks from the first game all blended together at some point. But in Hylics 2, there's so much more attitude and a lot more memorable. Like, tell me that isn't just the sickest thing you've heard. But as much as I really wanted to like this game, there were so many instances where I did get pretty tilted. Let's go back to the movement for a bit. This game introduces a lot of platforming sections which are a real hit or miss. On one hand, I like the fact that there are virtually no bounds at any given point. You wouldn't think to scale up this mountain, but you can, and I think that's pretty cool. You'll also be given the air dash pretty early on. Not only does this make traversing maps a lot quicker and easier, but it also gives you another way to find hidden areas or get to places you can't get to otherwise. Perhaps the biggest advantage of this is being able to go across the overworld, not having to waste time falling off questionably shaped paths. On the other hand, platforming in this game can be kinda janky. With no way to rotate the camera, it's difficult to gauge how close you are to landing on a platform, or whether or not you can even get to the other side. I like that this game encouraged you to explore using your newly acquired jumping abilities, but it was more tedious than anything else. Next, let's get to the combat. Remember how I said the first game wasn't too difficult? For some reason, Hylics 2 cranked this difficulty to 11, and I was playing on normal. Aside from the enemies hitting way too hard, there were 3 factors that really made combat frustrating. First is the attack order. In the first game, you're always going first, meaning you're going to be buffed and ready to go. However, this game takes speed into consideration. Your characters might die before you even get a chance to act. Second are the types of mobs that spawn. These pool man guys can split themselves into 2 and so can their clones. Warpo comes up from underneath and chases you down. He moves pretty damn fast, and once you're in combat, you better take him out first cause he can blow up one of your party members. Kuchard puts up a shield that blocks any attack or status dealt to it and reflects a huge amount of damage back to you. The fact that you had to deal with these guys along with 3 other mobs is just a recipe for disaster. Finally, combat as a whole has been balanced, which I know sounds really freaking weird considering I just talked about how unfair the enemies are, but hear me out. In the first game, there were two skills that were extremely broken, Mystic Meat and Dark Flame. Mystic Meat gave everyone immunity to statuses for 3 turns, and Dark Flame was an AoE attack. What made these skills busted was the fact that everyone can learn them. Hylics 2 decided to balance this by making the status immunity skill single target, and Somsnosa being the only one with an AoE attack. And with this game being heavily focused on statuses and dealing with multiple enemies, the fights can get really exhausting. Surprisingly enough, the bosses weren't nearly as bad, and some of them had really cool designs. Like this giant worm thing. It looks so nasty, but it has so many moving parts that I can't help but appreciate it. Or the car boss that just comes rushing towards you. And of course, we can't forget about Gibby. I love how Wayne just goes, "Gibby!" as his eyes are closed in the portrait. It's pretty funny. Just look at this guy compared to the first game. I mean, he looked weird enough, but Hylics 2 made him out of this world. He gives off, "Oh, you're approaching me" energy, except he's the one coming towards you. You know what I mean. Hylics 2 really is a mixed bag. I appreciate the creator doubling down on what made the first game so unique and memorable. At the same time, things like the combat and platforming fell short, but at the end of the day, you're not playing Hylics for that kind of stuff anyway. You're here for an experience you can't get anywhere else. Like I said, this game is charming. It embraces the absurdity and keeps turning that dial until there's nothing left. You'll either explode in a flurry of tiny meat particles or have your face melt right off your skull. But there is one thing that bothers me. Where's the sex?